Hello and welcome to Stick to the Pod episode 7, and we're just going to get straight into things this week. 2 games on the Saturday, so we'll start there. And the first one we're going to go with is the Nottingham Lions avenging their defeat against the Sheffield Skimmers and coming out 5-3 winners. Yokoyama bagging a hat-trick in that game and clearly being the difference in Sheffield, so the Lions do take the 2 points there and the 5-3 victory. One name I am starting to see for Sheffield quite a bit, a guy called NIHL. Now, I've done a little bit of looking into this, not too much for him on Elite Prospects. Played in America. It was the LA Junior Kings, I think is where he's came through, but the stats aren't really there for him. But he's certainly a name that is starting to pop up on most weeks when I'm looking through the results, reading through the match reports. His name is certainly popping up quite a bit. I do recall he actually got man of the match as well for the Sheffield Skims in Billingham on opening night in Billingham for the Stars. So he was a player that stood out that game. So it looks like Sheffield have picked up a good little player in NIHL. If you do know anything more about him, a bit more about his background, do get in touch, let me know. The email address is open, sticktothe@gmail.com, or drop me a message through the usual channels. I am on Twitter, Stick to the Pod, and there is a Facebook page. Also, the other game of the night was the Warriors travelling to the Solihull Barons, who are also starting to make their home ice a bit of a fortress. Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a thing this year that the teams are playing a lot stronger on home ice, whether that's teams aren't travelling so well, or it just is that home ice advantage is that big at the moment. The Barons running out 6-2 winners against the Whitley Warriors, all your usual suspects on the score sheet for the Barons. Otterson 2, Phil Mackay's on the score sheet, Dan Mulcahy got a goal as well, and I think there's Race and Stokes also on the game sheet for the Barons, and Connor Lewis and Carl Ross picking up the goals for the Warriors. And that's actually, I believe, 4 losses in a row now for the Warriors. I do have it written down somewhere, but I must have misplaced it. But yeah, so from winning the first 4, they've then gone on to lose the next 4 in the league. I do know they play on the Sunday night. But that was a cup game with the Edinburgh Capitals, which I believe they came out 2-1 winners. I did watch the highlights and I did see that the Warriors did pick up a couple of injuries in that game. On to the Sunday, and not really many shocks. I think there was one big shock I think would have got people talking. So I'm just going to start from the top of my list. I was at the Widnes Wild Billingham Stars games, obviously. I wouldn't say I was confident in this, but I expected a much closer game. I know the Wild beat the Warriors the week before. They brought some players in from Kilmarnock Thunder, so they managed to pack out that roster. They've been using the backups from Leeds Knights, so I think Luke Sargey and Harrison Walker have kind of been alternating for the Wild. So I knew there was going to be, assumed it was going to be a tough night trying to get pucks in the net because 2 solid netminders. But it was just an absolute job well done by the Billingham Stars. Top line firing on all cylinders like they have all season long. Roland Scritton's hat-trick, Michael Elder hat-trick, goals from the second line, Ian Brown and James Moss, and Preston chipping in from the third line. The Wild goal scorer was Barlow, a 9-1 result for the Billingham Stars in the end. Like I say, I was confident going into the game. I just thought it might have been a lot closer. Stars didn't put a foot wrong all night long. Clinical in front of net. Pass and play was exceptional, moved up and down the ice with speed, and the Wild didn't really know how to live. They did try and rough it up a little bit, but the Stars were just a bit too quick for them, and they couldn't even really do a good job of trying to turn the game physical. There was a little bit of rough stuff in the third period, ended into a fight with Sykes, throwing a few right hands. Highlights are out with Drop the Puck. I believe they came out last night, so if you do have an hour, watch their highlight show. That is available. The other results on the night, not a shock by any means. Nottingham Lions 4, D-side 10. Goal scorers, again, as I mentioned at the start of the season, I thought D-side would have been up there from game 1. 1 or 2 reasons for that not happening: injuries, suspensions, started the season on the back foot, but have got themselves going now. D-side scoring the 10 goals, Jared Dixonson getting 4 goals. I believe he's been playing D, so I'm not sure if he's moved forward for that game. Andrew McKinney getting a couple. He seems to have helped turn things round there at D side, and it's obvious that when he's come back, they've started winning, so having a massive influence on the team. Ross Kennedy getting two, and Parry and Valusiak a goal each. So yeah, probably the size of the scoreline, probably not what you'd expect, but on the other side of it, a very good D side. They will score goals, and obviously they're starting to gain a bit of momentum. I haven't beat any of the top sides yet. I think the only wins against I think it was Sheffield and Nottingham, so the bottom two. They do have a victory against the Barons. The Barons were missing 7 players that night. Not the D-side's fault by any means, but made the game a lot more comfortable than it would have been. So yeah, but the D-side are on the board, scoring goals, and we'll get into them with their fixture coming this weekend. The next one, again, I'm not that surprised. I knew early the Hawks would be missing quite a few bodies. Solihull playing Blackburn in Blackburn. Solihull coming out 9-3 victors in that one. I did get a message earlier in the day saying the Hawks would be missing quite a few players, so I wasn't shocked to see the result. Dan Mulcahy scoring for, Nick Otterson scoring for, and Matt Maurice with the other one. Again, you're going to see those names all season long, as you are for D-side with Dickinson, McKinney, Kennedy, as you are for Lions. You're going to see a lot of Yokoyama. Billingham, you're going to see a lot of Britt Anns, Elder, Sykes, Moss. So the goal scorers are stepping up so far this year. So on to the last game on the Sunday, and probably the result of the weekend and the shock of the weekend was the Hull Jets losing away to the Sheffield Scimitars, who ran out 5-2 victors. Heinzel's name's there again. He's popped up with a goal. Danico getting 2, Wickens and Rogers for the Sheffield, and Beach and Hagger for the Jets. So again, as I just mentioned there, the usual goal scorers are popping up for teams. Hagger and Beach for the Jets. So yeah, the Jets doing very well on home ice. Yet to lose a game on home ice, but yet to win a game on the road. Are they travelling light? They're just not as confident away from home. Are they going in there a bit tentative even? Are they just not going there? Is there a block, or like a mind block for them? Who knows? But 4 wins at home, and I think it's 3 losses on the road for the Jets. So nothing really major in any of the other results, really. No real big shocks. I mean, obviously the size of some of the score lines, the Barons 9-3 over the Hawks, but as I said, the Hawks were missing some players, but it wasn't more the amount of players, it was more who was missing. And if you're missing 3-4 of your top 6, goals are going to be a massive problem in this division. And as we've said before with the Barons, yes, it's one line. They've only got one line, and that's to be true. If they lost 2 of them 3, I don't think they're winning the games that they're winning. But them 3 are unstoppable. So if you find a way to stop that Barons top line, and you probably do stop the Barons. Like I say, how many goals have they scored this weekend? I think Otterson 6 goals, Dan Mackay 5 goals. So as you can see, how important that line is of Mackay, and Otterson. So teams out there, you've got to shut down that line. If you've got good secondary scoring, you'll certainly stop the Barons, who, looking through their goal scorers so far this year, don't have any secondary scoring. If it's not that line scoring, it's usually a D-man playing with that line who's scoring. So we'll move over into the fixtures coming into this weekend. No big fixture. Certainly some interesting ones. Hull will be looking to get another win on home ice and avenge that loss to the Scimitars on Saturday. Yes, I fully expect the Hull to wrong the rights from the week before and get the victory over the Skims. Moving on to the Sunday, the Warriors and the Dragons. That'll be a good game. Warriors have brought in a new face. Let me get my notes, sorry. Joshua Hodgkinson from Leeds. I think he played Leeds last season. Brought him in. Another D-man though. I got a message this week from a mate from up at Whitley Bay. He goes, yeah, it's great to have another body, but another D-man. We do not need D-men. So maybe Tony Hand up there is going to make a few changes at the back end and maybe move a couple of lads forward. Because like I say, there are a lot of D-men up in Whitley Bay now. 1 or 2 guys may move and start playing forward and see if they can change the Warriors' fortunes in the league. And they're going to be facing a very, very confident D-side Dragons side, scoring lots of goals of late. We know McKinney's making a difference there. He will be probably the one to stop, because I think obviously all of D-side's good work is going through Andrew McKinney. In other games, you've got the Hawks and the Wild. That'll certainly be an interesting one from the point of, It'll be interesting to see how both teams bounce back after heavy defeats. Though obviously it's a big derby game. The Wild got beat 5-0 at home by the Hawks a couple of weeks ago. Are the Hawks going to get any more bodies back this week? I've seen that, I think, is it David Zhirinox, DJ? I think he was back playing last weekend after he took a bad one in Widnes. So then maybe I know the guy who made that hit from Wild is suspended. He's got a fair few games to go of that suspension. But is there going to be any retaliation? Is there going to be backlash from that incident in that game? Who knows? So it'll be worth keeping an eye out on Sunday. And the Stars playing the Jets, and Stars will want to put one on the Jets after that opening day defeat to Hull, which obviously has set the tone for this season. It's been a very close season. Obviously, the first one of many shock results we've had so far. So the Stars will want to get one back on Jets. As for talking points, it hasn't been much this year. I'm just trying to recall going back from the Widnes game. What did I see in the Widnes game? Just a Widnes side they're just lacking a lot of confidence and lacking a lot of belief. So there wasn't really much to relate back to there. Couldn't really go into that game into much depth. Could be a tough year for Widnes. They may get the one or two good results along the way. On the whole, I can't see them beating the top sides much this year. I know they beat the Warriors, but the way the Warriors are going with injuries at the moment, they've had a lot of injuries, unprecedented amount of injuries. Like I say, I was talking to my mate from up at Whitley Bay, and he's not he can't remember a season like it. So I know from Billingham for a fair few years ago, I think we went to Blackburn once with 11 guys, with quite a few missing through injury. But yeah, for the Whitley Bay, I've never known them to have as many injuries as they have. Hopefully, they'll get back to full strength soon enough, starting getting some results on the board, get this league really competitive. Yeah, I'm just tracking back through memory of anything that's happened this week. It's been quiet news week, nothing major's happened in any other divisions really. Everything's been as is. Hull Skims Saturday. Hull will take that result, I would presume. Hawks Wild will be interesting. Stars Jets. Stars or Jets won, and obviously last time Stars played out on home ice, they did lose. They lost to the Hawks, so they'll want to put a show on for the home contingent, keep those crowds up. I have missed a fixture actually. The Nottingham Lions are hosting the Barons. The way the Lions have gone over a couple of weeks, I know they've got a heavy loss to the Stars, heavy loss to the Dragons, and I can only see the same again. I think our Barons top line will probably have a field day in Nottingham, so you could probably be expecting 8 or 9 goals for the Barons shared across that first line. But as for that, yeah, no really big major news on major talking points this week. Warriors have made a signing, Josh Hodgson, as I mentioned, a defenseman. But other than that, not a lot. So if you do have any news, if you know of any stories that I may not have covered, or there's anything that you want me to talk about, drop me an email. Same for the Facebook. Drop us a message on there. And if you want to come on and talk about your team, let me know. We'll get something sorted. But other than that, yeah, unfortunately this week, guys, it's a bit of a short one. It's a bit of a quick one. Not a lot going on. The league is starting to take a bit of a shape now. I think towards the end of November, we'll certainly have a division that will certainly be able to read the table a lot easier. Because obviously at the moment, Stars have played 10 games. Actually, just let me pull that league table up. We're going to have a look at the league table. Right, there we go. So yeah, Stars have played 10 games. Widnes Wild have only played 6 games, and they're obviously at opposite ends of the table. But yeah, I think towards the end of November, we'll certainly get a lot more of an idea of what's going on. Like I say, the Stars have 2 free weekends in November. I think they only play maybe 3 or 4 games. So obviously those 2 free weekends, a lot of the other teams will catch up. So what I'll do is we'll have a quick run through the league table, try and fill this episode out a little bit. So we do have the Billingham Stars at the top of the division, playing 10 games with a 7-3 record, scoring 63 goals. That's impressive. 63 goals in 10 games. 27 conceded as well, though. Certainly not the best defense by any means. 27 goals conceded, with a home record of 2-1 and an away record of 5-2. That's quite impressive. Obviously, after having that decent road trip, as we say, the 5 games on the road. The next team in second place is the Solihull Barons. I know at the start of the season I didn't have him in my top 4 originally, and that was more because there was certainly an unknown quantity to myself. They'd lost a lot of players. They brought a few guys in from southern leagues divisions, which I'm not too much clued up on, but they seem to be doing a job for the Barons and helping that top line do the work they are doing. Like I say, they're second with 7 games played and a 5-2 record, 10 points. Next, the Blackburn Hawks in third, 8 games with a 5-3 record. The next best scorers in the division as well, with 33 goals but 26 conceded, giving them 10 points. So I still think Blackburn will be up there. I know the loss of Shudra is going to be big for them. Currently, Adam Barnes injured. Whether that's long term, I don't know. But I'm sure as soon as he's back on the lineup, it'll make life for the coaching up in Blackburn a lot better, and their results will certainly improve on the back of that and the amount of goals to score. The Warriors, which I said they were on a 4-game losing streak, that's still correct. That is, they're in 4th place, playing 9 games with a 5-4 record, with a 26 goals scored and 28 conceded. But as we mentioned, a lot of injury issues there. Another defenseman brought in, so I expect to see some changing of the pack with where players play. 5th place is the Hull Jets, 7 games played, a 4-3 record, still undefeated on home ice, and I think that will continue after this weekend, playing the Skims at home, but on the road to Billingham. They've got 8 points in that 5th place. The Deeside Dragons, 7 games played with a 3-4 record. I know I topped it on it early in the show, losing the first 4 games, I think it was actually. Losing the first 4 games, and then I've obviously gone on a bit of a run, beating the Skims and the Lions and a very depleted Solihull Boron side. The next in 7th place, 8 games played by the Nottingham Lions, with a 2-5-1 record. I think there's only been only one game has gone to overtime this year, and the Lions were on the losing side, so I'll pick up that extra point for the loss. Actually, once I've gone through the table, there is something I do want to talk to you guys about, and maybe you can reply with some of your thoughts and ideas. So I'll just quickly continue through the table. 8th place is the Widnes Wild, 6 games played with a 2-4 record, and the Sheffield Scimitars at the bottom there with 8 games played and a 2-6 record. One thing I will say about the league table, it's great to see nobody on 0 points. I know for the past few years we've had a lot of teams at the bottom not getting a win until the last month of the season or last 5-6 games of the season, and only picking up the odd overtime loss point here and there. So it is great to see that there's 3 teams there all on 2 wins. It's great to see there's teams with points on the board. Yeah, I think as teams get their legs under them more, and more of a routine of fixtures, like I say, a 5-game road trip and then having 2 weekends off in Nottingham, absolutely absurd. So that's the table. I'll quickly run through that again for you. Stars first, Barron second, Hawks third, Warriors 4th, Hull Jets 5th, the Deeside Dragons 6th, Nottingham Lions 7th, the Widnes Wild 8th, and the Sheffield Scimitars 9th. So the quick thing I want to talk to you guys about is the point system. What do you guys think of the point system? Yep, for years it's always been 2 points. 2 points for a win, no points for a loss, and 1 for an overtime loss. So this is where it got me thinking. I believe I saw the Elite League table. Sheffield and Nottingham were first and second. I think it was roughly the same points. Sheffield Steelers had something like 5 straight wins, whereas the Nottingham Panthers had like 1 regulation win, 2 or 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly what it was, 3 or 4 overtime wins. Now I thought, well, yeah, they've both won the same amount of games, but is it fair? Is it fair on the team that's won in regulation to the team that's won in overtime? Should we move the point system to a 3 points for the win, 2 points for the overtime win, and obviously the 1 point for the overtime loss, and obviously 0 points for a regulation loss, as it should be? So just your thoughts on that. What do you guys think? I like the 3 point system. I know it's not something that we used to in hockey, but it just differentiate from that regulation win to that overtime win. I believe they do it in international hockey. I'd have to double check that, but I believe that's how it works in international hockey. It's 3 for the win, 2 for the overtime win, and obviously 1 for the overtime loss. So let me know, guys, what you guys think. Do you think it's just fine as it is? Let's not change it. No need to change it. Or does it sound better with the 3 points for the win? Because as well, I mean, if you win and you get 3 points and your rival loses, if you win and you get 2 points but your rival loses, and that's none. 2 points is not a lot. 3 points does feel like quite a lot when you put a 3 point gap between you and your rival. But a 2 point gap Just doesn't seem right if you're winning every week and competitor, your rival, is hanging on and getting overtime wins in there as well, or even an overtime loss. I don't know. Let's just pick out a couple of teams. I'll use just the top four here: Billingham, Solihull, Blackburn, and Whitley. Billingham and Solihull are playing. Billingham win 2-0 in regulation. No, we'll change that up so it makes a bit more sense. So Billingham are playing Blackburn. Billingham get a regulation win. It's 2 points. Barons are playing the Warriors. Barons only get an overtime loss. They still pick up a point. So you get 2 points. Your rival picks up 1 point even though they lost. Something not quite right there. So if we change that to 3 points for the win, that makes it a bit more of a gap. It's like a bit more warranted in my mind. Maybe I'm just talking gibberish. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you think of the point system. Obviously, it ain't going to change. It's not we're not the decision makers, but it was just something that I thought, yeah, maybe you should get a better outcome for a regulation win than you should over an overtime win. You guys let me know. Stick to the pod at gmail.com is the email address. Like I say, find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. Stick to the pod. Let me know your thoughts. Drop me a message. And we'll take it from there. We're going to call that a wrap today, guys. Yeah, I'll speak to you guys next week. Bye for now.